Now, as we just saw, this high holiday season is a time for Jewish prayer or ritual, but that could be a challenge for those Jews living in small, remote communities or even alone by themselves. Now, the Chabad or Lubavitcher Hasidic movement is famous for its outreach to such places, sending its emissaries to far-flung locations across the globe. Now, that mission is especially challenging in the vast outback of Australia, with pockets of Jews scattered across a near-empty wilderness stretching thousands of miles. One of those tending to the Jewish religious needs of that population is Rabbi Menachem Aron. He is the director of Chabad of rural and regional Australia. He joins us now from Melbourne. Rabbi Aron, thank you for joining us. First of all, tell us about the challenge. As I said before, Australia is so big, so vast, so empty in parts. You must rack up quite a few travel miles.
Yes, we definitely do, and thank you for having me on this evening. Australia is a very, very big country. I was just looking it up this evening. It's about 350 times the size of Israel, with about 26 million people. So Australia takes about 40 hours to get from one side to the other by car, something that our organization has done many, many times. There are about 10,000 Jewish people that we know of living in areas outside of the major cities that still want to be able to connect with their Judaism and still want to be able to celebrate the high holidays. And that's what we're here for, help them do just that.
Well, let me ask you, how far will you go if there is one or two Jews living in the outback far away? Are there cases you could think of like that?
Absolutely. One or two, or even just one person is enough to get us going. And just last year, we had a Jewish person living in a place called Groote Eylandt. It's a tiny little island in the north of Australia, which is about a 4.5-hour flight from where I am right now. And they celebrated Rosh Hashanah over there by themselves, and they wanted to celebrate. So we sent them a Rosh Hashanah package, we sent them a shofar, and they were able to blow shofar themselves in Groote Eylandt last year for Rosh Hashanah.
Right, and let me ask you about how you go about this. You have an organization. Are you in touch with these people during the year? Do they contact you? Do you contact them?
Right. So the organization I work with is called Chabad RARA. RARA is an acronym. It stands for Rural and Regional Australia. And we've been around for about 24 years. So we started just about in 2000. I've been with the organization myself for close to 4 years. Over the years, we've amassed many, many contacts all around the country. And we're constantly in touch with them, whether we're in touch over the phone or even in person. We have a lot of volunteers, as well as myself and my family, that we travel all over the country visiting these people. And we could travel an hour to get to them. We could travel 20 hours to get to them. It makes no difference. Wherever Jewish people are, we will be there, and we will join together with them to enable them to connect with and to celebrate their Judaism.
Now, those who know that Melbourne is a thriving Jewish community. You have that in Sydney. Let's take us out to the rest of Australia. Are we seeing, is there Jewish life there sustaining, or is outside those, at least those two main centers, is it declining, dying out? What is the state of the Jewish community once you get past those urban centers?
So the numbers are growing every single day. There's more and more Jewish people that we're getting in touch with, and there's a lot of Jewish people that are moving out into the country. Like you said, Melbourne and Sydney are some of the biggest kind of communities that there are in Australia. But outside of there are a lot of places where Jewish people are living. In fact, over the years, we've identified already 3 different places where it's actually worthwhile to set up a Chabad shliach, to have a shliach there, and to have someone there, not just someone, but a whole family there on a full-time basis. So we've got a base up in Cairns, up in far north Queensland. We've got a base in the Sunshine Coast, another beautiful part of Australia, and a base in Newcastle. And in all these places, there are thriving communities that are growing every day. Every day, more people are getting in touch. Every day, more people are walking through their doors and connecting with their services. Just over this past Rosh Hashanah, these 3 places alone had about 500 people attend services and be able to participate in the Rosh Hashanah meal, and to be able to, of course, hear the shofar. And a lot of them will be coming back this Monday for Yom Kippur as well.
Is it briefly one particular instance that touches you particularly in dealing with those people out there?
Yes. The way we meet people is always incredible to see. And just 2 months ago, we had our volunteers on the road, 2 young American rabbis that came to join us over here. And they were in a tiny little town called Coffs Harbour. Not so tiny, but it is a small town. and they were right before Shabbat, right before Shabbos, and they needed to get some kosher bread for Shabbat. Now, the supermarket that they were at didn't have any, so they needed to travel 20 minutes away to a different supermarket. They turned up at the other supermarket, and what do you know? As soon as they walk in, they bump into a Jewish man who hasn't connected in a very long time, and they were able to help him out. They were able to put on tefillin with him, and they actually invited him to join them for a Shabbat meal. So it just goes to show, wherever you are, you might just be shopping for some bread for Shabbat. Wherever you are, you can bump into another Jewish person and create a connection with them. And that's something that we see that happens all the time, whether it's scheduled or unscheduled. There are always more people to connect with.
All right, Rabbi Menachem Aron of Chabad RARA in Australia, thank you for joining us, and Shana Tova.
Thank you for having me, Shana Tova, and all the very best.